Hi, I'm Brad Miller, and welcome to my THOR kitchen. Today, I'm going to show you how to make an amazing steak. If you're going to make amazing steak, it starts with the best quality meat you can possibly find. When you look for a steak, you want to make sure you look for good color, good marbling. Look at all that. See that white? That's all just fat that's just waiting to be melted into the meat. So, the key to a good steak is technique. I do kosher salt and also a generous amount. You really want to kind of salt this guy up, because if you think about it, when you eat a piece of steak, you're only, and especially when you cut it, you're only eating a sliver of it. You're only getting a sliver of the salt and pepper. So I kind of load it up. Make sure you hit it all over the place. And you always season from up high. The reason you season from up high is so it kind of rains down everywhere. If you season too close, you're just getting little pockets. So always season from up high. Then fresh cracked pepper. Always fresh cracked pepper. You want that little seared in flavor of the pepper. Now I personally like a lot of pepper. I like a lot of pepper on mine, so I'm going to go a little harder on the pepper. And you always want to pat it in. Pat it in, get it in there. And then just roll it on the excess. Kind of roll it all over, get it on the excess. That's a perfectly seasoned prime ribeye. This is a steak that has the absolute most flavor. That's in my eyes. Now let's take this to our ripping hot pan and sear it off. All right, so I have my pan ripping hot. I'm gonna go in with a little grapeseed oil. Any high heat oil will work. The key is to let your steak kind of like feel the oil. It's like dipping its toe into the oil. Let it dip in there a little bit, then set it. Kind of give it a press so it stays. And we're gonna let that just get a beautiful sear on it. And also, I like to have mine on the bone. Bone in always has more flavor to you. You get a little of that marrow coming out. Also, the key to getting a really good sear on a steak is picking it up and letting the oil kind of re-rest under the steak. And it's getting nice and caramelized. And it gets to re-rest on the pan. So we're gonna let this sear, and then we're gonna flip it over. We got this nice and seared, both sides. What we're gonna do is we're gonna take it out, we're gonna let it rest. So we let our steak rest for a little bit. Depending on the thickness of the steak, you wanna rest for like 5 to 10 minutes, sometimes 15 if it's a really big steak. Got our pan hot again. We're gonna go in with our butter, and we're just gonna brown this butter up. Then we're gonna go in with our fresh rosemary, garlic, letting that brown up, and now our steak's going back in. We're just gonna kind of baste it. Gonna get all those flavors, all those delicious rosemary flavors and butter and brown butter all over this steak. Doing one side, kind of basting them. Then we're gonna flip them over, do the other side, baste that. We can kill our heat now. And then we're just basting. The smell of that nutty brown butter, the fat of the beef, the rosemary, the garlic. This is one of the best smells you could ever possibly smell. This just makes you salivate walking in the room. Making sure all that brown butter is hitting all those parts of every part of that steak. This guy's ready to go. Now I'm going to show you how to carve up this prime bone-in ribeye. First, you want to remove the butcher's twine. And the butcher's twine is just there to kind of keep it shape. It kind of holds it together and make sure when it cooks all in the nice kind of, perfect tight shape. So first, you want to follow the bone, gently pushing against the bone, kind of angling a little bit, just making sure that the knife is following the bone for a nice clean cut. And there's my bone. And then you want to get nice, thick cuts of that ribeye. That is perfectly cooked, perfectly rested, medium rare ribeye. So let's make it look beautiful. I'm gonna move this up. Got our THOR cutting board right here, and we're gonna plate up on our cutting board. So I like to kind of arrange the bone, take the steak, and kind of shingle it. You wanna see all that beautiful color that we worked so hard to accomplish, that perfect temperature. You wanna see that. So kind of shingle it out a little bit. And all that rosemary and garlic, you kind of wanna just garnish with it. Make sure to get those pieces of garlic in there. Like that. I like fresh lemon juice squeezed on my steak. You'll see why when you do it. It really brings out the flavor of the steak. Even though we salt and peppered the outside of it pretty heavy, you always wanna do really good sea salt and just sprinkle sea salt. That's the key. You get that middle part that wasn't seasoned, gets really nice, fresh sea salt over it. Finish with a little bit of fresh chives. And then one thing I like to do, I like to grab a little of that brown butter we worked hard for and just drizzle it. That's gonna make everybody really, really happy. And there you have it. This is an amazing steak. Cook it just like this, follow these instructions. I promise you, everybody you cook for is gonna be amazed, including yourself. So let's dig in. I'm gonna go right for the middle, right for that beautiful, beautiful rare to medium rare. I like to get a little garlic on there. That's a good bite. So juicy, so tender. That flavor of rosemary, that kind of crispy crust that we made from the salt and the pepper. This is one of those steaks you gotta try to make like this just once. This is an amazing steak.